So welcome back to some more Grand Theft Auto Liberty City stories. In this part, we will be completing the Trash Dash side mission, which is a requirement to complete on each of the 3 islands across Liberty City in order to get your percentage points for 100%. And we will begin our adventure here in Portland and then move on to Staten Island and then finish in Shoreside Vale. And what the Trash Dash is basically a glorified checkpoint collection type of side activity. For a bit of a comparison here, with a bit more specifics, take the checkpoint challenge that we did in the junkyard, scrapyard area that we just came from here, in which we got this Trash Master. You had to use the Dirty Sanchez to collect checkpoints that popped up around the area. And what the Trash Dash is, I think, is just that, but on a larger scale. Instead of using a small area within an island, you're using the entire island to collect checkpoints. And instead of the checkpoints looking like checkpoints, they're reskinned to look like dumpsters. So overall, I really don't find this activity to be all that exciting or challenging, which is kind of a good thing. If you're not that interested in doing something, you can at least say, well, it's easy, so it's not that big of a deal to have to do it. But overall, though, it's not that enjoyable of a process, so that's kind of how I feel about it. But thankfully, in the case in which you might find this to be a bit challenging, you can always pull up the map, and on the map you can see where all the different dumpsters are going to be located during your run of doing the Trash Dash. So the dumpsters will always be in the same location for each island, so that's awesome stuff there too, in case you need to do it multiple times to get down a route or whatever you need to do so you can complete the mission without running out of time. So yeah, good stuff here. But I kind of wanted to talk about in Grand Theft Auto 4 how there's that one mission that you do that involves the diamond subplot of that game, which is a pretty major thing. Actually, it's not really a subplot necessarily. It's something that connects all 3 of the stories that go on in Grand Theft Auto 4. Obviously the main game that has Nico Bellic, but also in the Lost and Damned, in which you're playing as Johnny Klebitz, and then in the Ballad of Gay Tony, when you're playing as Luis Lopez. It's like all 3 of these characters have some play in that diamond plot going on there. So what I'm reminded of, though, is when Nico has to pose as a garbage man, and you go throughout the mission collecting trash, and in one of the, pickup points of the trash, you pick up a trash bag that has the diamonds in it, which is kind of a dangerous thing there, because the diamonds could break a hole in the bag or something if you're not careful with it. If you're really aggressive with your trash collecting there, which I think is actually pointed out during that mission, which is probably why it stands out to me. In my head, I'm thinking about that. But it's like when I played that game for the first time as a kid, I really liked that mission, and I wish they would have expanded on things to do for the Trash Master in that game, because I just really thought that atmosphere that you kind of get when in that type of situation was just really cool, because you had the 2 fellas hanging off the back, hanging on to the Trash Master, and when you reached a trash pickup point, they'd get off and then pick up the trash, and then you'd actually have to open up the hatch in the back so they can throw in the trash into the Trash Master, and then you'd have to close it so the trash remains inside. And I just thought that was the coolest thing for some reason. I mean, in real life, a job is a job. It's not all that glamorous or anything like how video games sometimes make them out to be, or maybe just from that feeling you get when you play a video game. I mean, it's just a normal thing, but for whatever reason in Grand Theft Auto 4, just riding around kind of acting like a garbage man was kind of cool. But that's really the only thing that involves the Trash Master in that game, although I guess there is also a mission where you use a garbage truck as a bomb for Mikael Falston. And that's actually like in Grand Theft Auto 3, the mission Blowfish that you do for Tony Cipriani, and that you use this Trash Master, or dust cart as he calls it, and you blow up the Triad Fish Factory. It's like he wants it to rain mackerel, nothing low budget, real biblical and all that. He has all those different lines for it. So yeah, I guess something like that too is pretty cool, but it's like my focus of what I'm trying to say, though, is that I wish there was an activity like what we're doing here, but in Grand Theft Auto 4, because I feel like it would be a bit more, I don't know the proper word, maybe interactive or involved, because what we're doing here is just ramming into dumpsters using a trash master. It's not like we're actually having to exit the vehicle, then pick up the trash, and then throw it into the trash master, which, I don't know, I mean, maybe it's just something that sounds appealing as a kid because you're willing to do more of those types of things, because it's like nowadays, you know, it's like you just want to get on with whatever the activity is, because, well, you know, as you get older, you realize just how valuable time is, and you're not as willing to dedicate your time to doing something like that, I guess, or at least to the point where you're enjoying whatever you're doing. I mean, you're kind of thinking, man, you know, when's this going to end? So I don't know. Maybe that's just a terrible idea I have there, but you know, maybe some of the younger folk might like such ideas, and that you have some type of trash master activity in or I guess in an HD era Grand Theft Auto game. But you know, anyways, you know, all this talk about trash actually reminds me of one of my first jobs I had, where I worked in fast food. And what they had me do when I first started out was basically be a janitor. And I think I've mentioned this story in a San Andreas part, actually. Yeah, I've definitely mentioned this. But one of the things I had to do was throw out the trashes. You know, that was like one of the first things I would do in the mornings when I would go in. And there was always a lot of trash in the trash can located at the end of the drive-thru of the fast food restaurant. You know, it's placed there so people can throw away their receipts or maybe some loose garbage or trash they have in their vehicle. You know, they could just throw it out right there. And often that thing would just get stuffed, I mean, super full of trash, just overflowing. It was a real mess sometimes when I would get in there, but it's like, you know, you remove the top of the trash can so you can get to the bag inside, so you can pull that out and throw it into your little rolling container, so then you can take that on over to the dumpster and all that. And I remember one time when I took off that hood thing to the trash can, a bunch of garbage fell out, you know, like, you know, cups and bags and stuff, wrappers and all that. But there was one bag in particular, one of those brown lunch bags that you would, you know, take to school if you had cold lunch, like a sandwich or whatever. And even adults, you know, at my current job, it's like, you know, people bring their brown bags too for lunch. You know, nothing wrong with that there, but in this particular instance, though, you know, it was kind of wrong because there was this fluid kind of pouring out of it. And, you know, my initial thought was that maybe somebody put a cup in there and there was ice or something, so that ice obviously melted and, well, the water is now pouring out. But upon closer inspection, it wasn't a watery substance. I mean, you know, it was... I mean, maybe technically there's some water in there, but needless to say, it was one of those no-no fluids there pouring out. There was also a prophylactic laying there as well, so it was just a terrible situation there. It was not fun cleaning that up and then just disposing of the stick I had to use to kind of scoop it back into the bag and all that, and then throw it out. I mean. It was kind of just, you know, it was very off-putting there, very disgusting, and you know, I remember why I mentioned that in San Andreas, because CJ talks about to Woozy Moo that he had a bad experience with like a condom. Oh no, it was a bad experience with swimming in the ocean, because he got like a condom stuck to his toe or something. I forget the story that CJ had, but that's why I mentioned that. You know, that's fantastic stuff, and I apologize to anybody watching up to this point if this is really rambly and kind of boring or whatever, but I mean, it's the freaking trash stash. There's not a whole lot to talk about here other than you're just ramming into dumpsters around Liberty City. I mean, that's all there is to it. But yeah, I mean, you kind of got to make the most out of working at a place like that, in fast food. Like, I mean, everybody knows it's not the most glamorous job. It's one of those starting jobs. Like for me, it was one of those starting jobs in which you just kind of get experience and also get some paychecks to kind of get you going in your early adult life and all that. But you make the most of it, you build relationships with your coworkers, I mean, I really don't want to go into too many details about all that, but it's a fun time if you make it a fun time, and it helps having like a great boss. I was one of the lucky ones, because I noticed in fast food, whenever people are talking about their fast food jobs, they always have just such negative things to say about them, and it's like for me, I mean, I guess I was just super lucky because my boss was super cool, super understanding of different situations you might find yourself in, whether it be, maybe you can't come into work or whatever, or, maybe there's a situation going on with, like, something being broken or whatever. So, it kind of helps you out a little bit. And, I always hear from other people that, you don't always have bosses like that, so, I was very lucky to have that, and of course, coworkers who, some of them I'm still friends with today. I mean, that's some good stuff right there, it's like, I know fast food isn't glamorous or anything, but, you make the most out of that, and, you come out with a positive, little thing going on there, so good stuff. Jeez, we're just all over the place here, but we've now moved on to Shoreside Vale, which I think is the more annoying place to do this activity, because the Trash Master isn't the fastest vehicle in the world, so it's hard to maneuver through and in between traffic, because Shoreside Vale doesn't have the widest roads, and there's a lot of hills everywhere too, so going uphill is kind of a pain. But I suppose one good thing about Shoreside Vale, and Staten Island for that matter, because Staten Island is larger than Portland is, and that's that you get 40 seconds after collecting a dumpster here in Staten Island and Shoreside Vale, and in Portland you get 30 seconds for every dumpster you collect. That gets added to the timer, so that's nice. It's like they're very understanding that Shoreside Vale isn't the easiest to navigate in something like this, so that's quite nice there. But something that's not so nice, though, is that after collecting all the dumpsters within an island, you then have to go back to Portland and dump off all the trash that you've collected at that scrapyard / car crusher location, which is the location in which we got the Trash Master for Portland. Which, by the way, you don't have to use the Trash Master I show off for that island. You can take the Trash Master, say on Portland, and take it and use it on Staten Island if you want to, or Shoreside Vale. You can use the same one for each island. It doesn't matter, as long as you have one in your possession. But I'm just showing off the different spawn points for them in case you're at one of the islands. So, like, if I only showed off Portland, then that means if you're following this as like a guide, then you would have to drive on over to Portland. But you don't have to, because there's a Trash Master located on each island, so you can just remain on whatever island you're on and then use that Trash Master for the other two islands if you want to. So that's something to keep in mind there. But either way, the whole situation though with taking trash back on over to Portland though, it's just kind of annoying, especially here on Shoreside Vale, because there is no Porter Tunnel in this game. Well, to an extent there is. Like, within Shoreside Vale, you can use the Porter Tunnel to get from Wichita Gardens to Francis International Airport, which is fairly handy. But you can't take the Porter Tunnel from Shoreside Vale all the way over to either Staten Island or Portland, because it's under construction, which is the source of those riots going on early on in the game, because you have the riots going on at the ferry station in Portland as well as at Portland Harbor. And the reason why those riots were going on is because after the Porter Tunnel was done with construction, once it's completed and fully built and operational, that'll put the ferry workers out of work, because there'll be no use for those ferries once the Porter Tunnel is done. And, I guess our only way of getting on over to Portland from Shoreside Vale is to use the lift bridge that connects you from Shoreside Vale to Staten Island. And I just really hate that lift bridge so much in this game. I don't remember it really being that problematic in Grand Theft Auto 3, but for some reason it just feels like anytime I need to use that lift bridge to get to Shoreside Vale, that damn thing is up, or it's about to go up, and you'll have to wait there on the bridge for it to come back down. That middle portion, in case you don't know what exactly I'm talking about, but there's a middle portion of the bridge that goes up and down, I guess to simulate, I guess boats going underneath it or something. I'm not really too sure. I'm not that knowledgeable, please help me, I need to read more, that's something I should be doing, but, that's just something you gotta deal with, and yeah, I really want to time it, though. I want to time to see how long that crap stays up there, and then, compare that to Grand Theft Auto 3, because I really don't remember it being that annoying in Grand Theft Auto 3. I mean, maybe because there was the ported tunnel that you can use, so I didn't have to use the lift bridge that much, but I don't know. It's just, it's something there for you to kind of think about there. Maybe other people find the lift bridge to be problematic. I know I do, but either way, though, we're coming to a close here for this little sequence here in Shoreside Vale. And I like this. There was a dumpster at the Portland Safe House. Or at least the Grand Theft Auto 3 Portland Safe House, but there was a dumpster located there, and then there's two dumpsters located here at the Grand Theft Auto 3 Shoreside Vale Safe House. So, I like that quite a bit, in that they're using areas like that and not forgetting about them. And I guess that also goes for the payphones across Liberty City, because for the street races, we did end up using payphones that we had to use in Grand Theft Auto 3 for various mission strands that involved those payphones, and I apologize for my reckless driving, but, you got these mad hooligans shooting at me, and, it kind of scared me a little bit, so that's something you kind of got to watch out for here in Shoreside Vale, people shooting at you, trying to slap you around there. And, I'm not all about that, fam, so, you gotta watch out and kind of gotta drive away and all that, and make sure you get out of there safely. So, yeah, and that completes the trash dash for all three islands. I hate this thing so much now. Yeah, no, I don't know, that's a bit extreme, but, I noticed here you can't actually use the car crusher for the Trash Master, which I don't know why. I mean, I guess it's just too big or something, but, either way, we'll just have to destroy it on our own there. But yeah, so your rewards are just purely cash, nothing more than that, and of course your percentage points. So yeah, with all that being said, we've now completed the Trash Dash, and in the next part, we will be completing the Vigilante side mission. So until then, I will see you next time.